Hello everyone and welcome to the Action Figuratorium. My name is Mark Major. I'm a real big toy collector here in Southeast Portland, and today is episode 2, part 2 as it were, of Fleet Wars. For those of you who don't know, Fleet Wars is a type of series that I'm doing in which I take a bunch of thrift store pirate ship beaters and repaint them, kit bash them, refurbish them, outfit them with all the stuff they need to get going, give them a crew, that sort of thing. And this whole series that I'm doing was actually inspired by another YouTuber, a guy by the name of Paul Knapp. His YouTube channel is called Paul Knapp Collections. He did a couple of videos in which he took a bunch of thrift store beaters and he refurbished them and got them going for some 1/32 scale crewmen. He made like a USA ship, a British ship, 3 French ships. It's very cool. Put a link down below. Check out Paul Knapp Collections. Love the channel. And it just felt inspired to do my own. So if you have missed the first episode in the series, go back and watch that. It is the tour of all my ships. There's a total of 9 different oddball, goofy, really super goofy pirate ships and a couple of runner-ups, plus a bunch of little dinghies and some extra gack. And just, you know, a tour where you look and see what we've got so we get an idea of how we're going to approach this. In part 2 today, I am taking all the cannons that I have acquired. And, you know, it's not like I have thousands or hundreds or, you know, it's about 10 really. But what I'm going to do is, because they're all mismatched and weird and different sizes and things, we're going to make them kind of uniform. And I've got fantastic secrets of repainting that I'm going to be sharing with you in this video of how I take these cannons and I give them a new paint scheme and they look pretty goddamn cool. So I think some of you know the drill. You come together, you strap on your leather like you're going to a Slayer concert, and then what happens? You hold on tight. We should probably begin with going through and step by step looking at the cannons I've got, and then I'm going to show you guys how I painted them, and then they're actually back there on the bench. We're going to go live at the very end, so stick around to the end, but I want to take you guys through the process because there's a couple of secret ingredients to this. Now, let's do some fancy production. Look at this. It's just like you're watching a big budget show, isn't it? Well, the content is big budget. The production, also big budget. Okay. Here are the cannons I have to begin with. Look at these things. We've got these huge, giant, weird things all the way on the left. I do not remember or know where these came from. And painting these are not going to be easy. Then there's this. This is not really a ship cannon. It's kind of some sort of like a you know, Age of Shakespeare cannon or something, but it's pretty ornate and cool, and it ended up coming out pretty bitchin'. This thing is cheap. This is like just a cheap like tube. This is some pirate ship stuff off of, you know, I don't know exactly where these came from, these pirate ship ones. This one's like, you know, a Black Pearl, that the Johnny Depp movies, the Disney movies, you know, the Pirates of the Caribbean. And the other ones, these, I don't think they're Playmobil, but there's something kind of like that. They're also probably some Disney crap. So let me go through the materials that we're going to be using today. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to, didn't know what that sound was. It's this. First thing we're going to be doing is we're going to put this primer on them. Now, there is a Rust-Oleum primer that I use because it will go over soft plastic, like those mushy Barbie doll heads. Most of you who've ever tried to paint them know that most primers and paints do not stick, but there is a Rust-Oleum that works. However, this Max Flex is what this is called, is something new by Glidden. I don't know, it's probably like some sort of a sub-brand of a sub-brand of an off-brand of an acquisition. But I saw it at the hardware store and I said, you know, it says all surface wood, metal, vinyl, and more. Let's give it a shot, okay? So we're going to be using this to primer all of our cannons, and bam, this is what they turned out with the primer. They look like this, ghost cannons. Now, here's something interesting. The red one that you saw in the previous video, it never really quite took the paint. You had to do several coats of paint and you can still see the red. It's a weird, oddball thing. These kind of came out, yeah, they worked. They all primed. They've primed. Now, the other paints that we're going to be using some generic black acrylic. Cheaper the better. Get like a tube of this stuff. I suggest you go to your Dollar Tree and get a tube for $1.25 because you're going to use a lot of it. Then we're going to be doing some wood because all these cannons have, you know, carts that they go in. And I've got this War Paints Oak Brown, right? Just happened to be what was in the bin. Bought it years ago. Got some left. Going to use it. And then the wheels. We're going to make the wheels iron. I've got some Citadel Color, right? British for color. What are they thinking with those extra vowels in there? And then part of the trick is you use gold, bright gold on all the bands, and that against the black looks cool. So let's move on to the next stage and let me show you the main trick. All right, there's our oak brown we're going to be using, and there's our gray, right? So starting off here, phase one, I'm doing just the carts with the brown, painting them on. I had a hard time sort of figuring out where the camera was. Every time I'd figure out where it was, and I'd move in. But there's me painting the brown. Now for the next phase, for the black, for the cannons, you're going to want this. You're going to want some tea bags. And the reason for this, put your black acrylic in like a little kind of, you know, little container that maybe you got your pizza in. And I don't use coffee. You could use coffee, but I think coffee's waste, so I use tea. And I don't use real tea, I use decaf tea. And I bought this bag, or this box, of like 100 for $2 from the Fred Meyer. So what you do is you take your tea bag, open it up, and you sprinkle a bunch in. Sprinkle a bunch into your acrylic paint so that it is all goopy and has a whole bunch of weird texture. This is kind of the key to making these cannons. Mix it up real good. You may even add a little bit of water, and then you slop it on. The sloppier the better. The more texture the better. You want people to see that these are real sort of primitive killing machines, these cannons out here, right? So I put this stuff on especially sloppy when I do it, and I think they turn out great. Of course, let's see here, painting all the wheels on them with the sort of the dark iron color. It's okay, not my favorite. If I ever do something like this again, I might use something other than this iron, but you know, what else are you going to do? You can't put these in gold or copper or any other kind of metal, and you don't want to make them black, and you don't want to, you know, it's kind of a lot tougher than you think. Okay, so then here is the key part. Adding the gold. When you add the gold to the little bands on the cannons, these things look particularly great. It's not that hard to paint either if you have the right brush, where the brush is about the width of the bands. I think it works pretty good. So I did all of these, and you can see that I was, you know, I was pretty high on painting when I made these. But what we're going to do now is we're going to cut over to the live cam and check these things out in person. So here we go. I'm going to walk over. Here, let me adjust the cam so you guys know where I'm at. We're rolling over, and look at these dogs. Look at how well these came out. It looks like they're all part of a matching set. So we got like sort of our three main ones here. This is probably going to go on one ship, right? Love the way these came out. This is a little bigger version. I put a little bit of that gold is kind of a little sort of transparent. It doesn't necessarily cover it. I did a little bit over the wheels there. I always like to do the one of the knobs at the end. I always like to kind of do, you know, around the front edge. This one was the worst cannon. This came out one of the best. I think the wheels actually roll too. It's funny. So I like this, and it can aim down into the ship if you need to fire on itself. And then of course the big dogs. Look at these. These came out really nice, and which is interesting. They're kind of the stupidest ones, but look, they've got handles on the side like this is some sort of coffin. And you probably don't know which one was the red one because it did take the primer, and you could paint the brown over it. And look, these still rock up and down. And then this is my favorite because it's got all the cool scrolly work on it. Look at that. That's pretty spiff. That is, you know, these little gold knobs on the back, little gold knobs on the wheels. I did the wheels in all sort of that iron. No, don't know why. Got to do something. Anyways, I really like that. So these will probably go on one ship. These two will probably go on another ship. This one and maybe these two go on another ship. I don't know. I'm going to have to divide them out. Do I want to actually buy more cannons? Well, probably don't. I think the point of the exercise of Fleet Wars is take what you got and make it work. But let's just say I'm pretty happy with the outcome of these cannons. They look much better than I thought, and they, you know, probably don't look that great on camera, but in person they look really cool because they've got that goopy texture on. So remember, secret ingredient. Break open a tea bag and dump it into your acrylic paint that you get at the dollar store for $1.25. Goop it together. Add a splash of water, an eye drop of water to it. So it's, you know, because, you know, the tea will sort of make it real viscous. And, you know, need to have it a little slippery, as they say. But if you do this to your cannons, I think you're going to get some pretty fantastic results. So thanks to everybody who's tuning in for Fleet Wars. This has been part 2. Not sure exactly what part 3 is going to be, but I get the feeling that we're going to be assembling our crews pretty soon, and we're going to figure out which crews go with which ships. So stay tuned for that. Of course, you need to be liking and subscribing on your own time, but everybody, we can all stay charged, people.